Stream's on. Don't see anything you're gonna regret.
Oh.
Don't feel like you don't have to talk though. Like, we can chat. It's fine.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No talk, ever.
No talking ever. I love
The point of the show is not to talk.
I just want our thing to be better than the plat last week, so let's just try to make that happen. We have bigger brains because we're diamond, right?
That's how that works, right? Because obviously, league rank has a direct correlation with intelligence.
Yeah.
I think one of your
Confirmed.
teammates was trying to argue that not too long ago in general chat. So
Well, of course, everyone knows it's true, so I
Well,
don't even
you
know
forgot
how
to
you
add-
can argue against it, right?
That league rank and number of backpacks you own.
Well, okay, well that's just obvious.
You're
Yeah.
right, that's just a given.
Like, come on, right?
The backpack is extra though.
Well, yeah, that's like a, it's like a, it's like a diploma, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a proof.
It's a certificate of your league
Yeah.
rank.
man, the host of this show's Silver 2 27% win rate. So this is off to a good start.
Can't wait till
Well, win rate's
we
just a number, so.
Yeah.
Can we play the duo to homecoming video before stream just to show how certificates go?
They took away like the people in chat listing, I think. At least I can't find any. Oh, there
On
it is.
Twitch?
It's at the top right now.
It's to the top right users in chat.
If
I
there's
don't know why they moved that. It's so
if there's
weird.
anyone alive out there, and I see a handful of people, but if there's anyone out there who'd like to be on the show today, let me know. You can just
09.
post in chat. We kind of need a fourth person.
Oh, 09.
I don't think we can put Lane on the show twice. That'd be too many lanes. There's only 3
I
lanes.
can ask
We can't
09
do-
if you want, but
I mean, I
then
see.
you have 2 people.
I see
he's
Jake
in
in
the
the
chat.
chat. Jake, you want to come on? Sacred Strike's in the chat.
Wait, Sacred Strike I think can do it. Hold on. Ooh.
Saber's Edge, I think, is another diamond player. I don't recognize some of these other people though.
Can I join that Discord real quick and come back?
Yeah, absolutely. Just
Alright, one
pop
sec.
into
No,
general,
you
and
can't
I'll pull
leave
you.
once you join.
Oh no.
I mean, if he doesn't come back, my odds just increased of
Yeah.
winning. So, I can't complain, really.
Might not be about the winning though. It's about the friends we make along the way, right?
Well, I mean, we're all friends here, right?
Sure.
What the
Talk to me.
Whatever, 83. Let me in.
Alright, Sacred Strike will do it.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Do I have his info anywhere to actually message him?
Can I invite him to the server? Is that how this works?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay.
I also have Jake on standby if we need that instead. But it sounds like we're good with Sacred Strike.
Oh, Thomas, you're toxic.
Wait, then we'd have 2 UR people. Oh no, he's on UA.
Yeah, come on, brother.
I'm color.
Solazar said he'd come if you want him.
Well, Try Sacred Strike first. If you can't get in the Discord, then figure it out.
Vici just got on
Oh.
his phone.
Vichi's on mobile.
And we're gonna have a scuffed mobile stream.
That's what I like to hear.
Oh, he says give him like 2 minutes. Okay, if we can get Vici on, that's probably the best option. He's got 2 minutes though. I'm gonna start a 5-minute timer if he's not here by then.
Rest in peace, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
Oh, Sacred Weep, dude. There he is.
there he is.
I feel my face when we've had the same number of lane by lane as get recalled. We're almost there. We're getting close.
Where did Aikido go?
Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, that's how I say it. I don't know.
Okay, so that's
He
how you
says
say it.
other people
Aikido.
say
I
it
got it.
differently. I don't know. Fuck.
I always called him Mikado, but maybe that's wrong.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of avocado personally.
I know he's been having some trouble, like personal life issues. So
Uh,
I don't
You
know other
hate to
than
see
that.
that.
I liked when he would shit talk people on the to get recalled. Or whatever it was called before.
Agreed.
Okay, we have Sacred Strike in waiting. We'll see.
Are you doing one of these for gold?
I would like to next week. So far, I've had exactly 0 gold people volunteer for 2 weeks. So
I'll do it.
They're just like, oh man.
they like shit talking each other in gold chat, but don't actually want to
Yeah.
come on a show and try to talk to people personally and make informed arguments.
Well, informed arguments are for losers.
They
That's
don't
what
wanna-
Abraham Lincoln said.
They don't want to get banned forever. Seeing Rat Boy and oh no. This will happen if I go on the stream. Just instantly profanity.
Man. Oh, we got General Vici. And
Oh, there he is. All right.
never lucky.
What's up, Vici?
Hello. I apologize for the delay.
We're only talking about top lane tonight, right?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Have you heard about Ghost Barrier Orange?
I have.
Ghost Barrier.
It's really good. That's all I'm gonna say.
I will say it definitely catches people off guard,
True.
which can be good enough.
it really can.
Can you tell Sacred Strike thanks for being up for it?
Yeah.
Anyway, we got 2 minutes on the timer. I'll just let it play out and then
Yeah.
we'll start then. I know everybody can hear me, but like when we start, I'm gonna have you guys introduce yourselves. You're in alphabetical order by your team name in the Discord. Do that in order. So thanks.
Okay, we're doing it by order.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
you gotta give
You're
you gotta give me
making
your
That's a
us
name.
lot of
already?
pressure.
Yeah, you gotta give me your name, your position you play, the team you play for, and your favorite esports team.
My
That's a lot, I gotta
favorite-
write it down.
That's yeah. Sorry, can you write in chat? I can't remember that.
Most of us are top laners, so our brains, you know, come on. We play tanks and stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of tanks. Are we gonna do we have to introduce ourselves with our real name too?
No, I. If you really want to, you can.
Oh,
But
hell yeah, I'm doing
For
it.
some reason, they wanted to last week. Even
Yeah.
though the expectation is just, hi, I'm Maris. I'm the host of this show. I play for Return of the Middle Sticks. My favorite esports team is Dom1 Gaming for some reason. I don't know. Just picked a team off the top of my head. You'll be on the show next week for gold, but you're just gonna flame Diamond and Levi's. I mean, if that's good within the context of the question, you might just get dock points muted and kicked from the Discord server because I have those
Rip.
powers.
Oh.
You have
Yeah.
no power here.
Alright, we got an intro video. If I can find it. Scuffed. Alright, so welcome, boys and girls in chat, to week 2 of Lane by Lane Diamond Flavor. My name is Meristematic. We have a lovely panel of guests here to argue about all things GRLCS and Worlds and other nice things. So let's meet our panelists.
All right, I am General Vici, the top laner for Gecko Slammer Armageddon, and I am a Cloud9 fan.
I'm Alex PP Poo Poo 43, leader Schmongolo. I am the jungle slash kill lane bot player for the Poo Poo crew, and my favorite esports team is like really old TSM.
I am lane, liposuction lane Sorrel, and I play for Return of the Middle Sticks in top lane, and my favorite esports team is TL, and I am not a bandwagoner, just let the record show, I was there when Lorlo and Dardoch and all that shit went down. So I'm happy with where they're at right now.
All right. My name's Player John, and I play top for Unlucky Retribution.
Oh.
And my favorite esports team, old CLG. Okay. I don't really. I don't know how I feel about the new one, but I really like old CLG a lot.
All right, so we got our Diamond panelists here. We're at that big inflection point in the Diamond season. We finished one round robin. We got the second one left to go. So everybody's played everybody once, and you get a second crack at them in the regular season. So our first question, we're going to start with General Vici. Are the standings going to move at all for the second round robin, or are they set in stone? I'm going to give the caveat that yes, Team Fish Taco can move down. So anything other than that?
I think that Return of the Middle Sticks is going to move up. I think that they're going to take third place over U.S. Army. U.S. Army is going to move to fourth. Other than that, I don't think the standings will change. I don't think Glen Bell is going to win a game, so TFT is going to stay there with their one win. And then other than that, I think that the standings are pretty much how they should be. I think that Nobles, the standings are how they will be, and then Imperials, I don't think many shifts are going to go either with the team records.
All right, 43.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree that Return to Middle Six is. I believe that they're better than they've played so far, just getting used to the new team. So I also agree that they're probably just going to go up to third. There's maybe if they like can really get together, they can push second, but that seems unlikely to me. And then for Imperials, I don't know how tiebreakers work, but unless like we can get first while tied with UA, then I assume they're gonna stay the same. But I don't know if we like play another match after that, assuming we beat them, or maybe we'll lose to them and stay the same. But I believe we're gonna beat them next time. So I think we can go up to first. I just don't know how the tiebreaker rules work.
Yeah. So head to head is the first tiebreaker, and then game score would be the second tiebreaker.
Okay, yeah, then I think that. Yeah, I think we'll go up then.
All right,
Do
Lane.
first.
Yeah. I definitely think my team will move up. We'll definitely be in playoff contention. I think we're finally got our pieces together with a consistent roster, and we've been every week kind of moving pieces in and out, and especially in bot lane. Now that we've got that situation figured out, I feel a lot stronger about our team, and I don't see any reason why we can't make playoffs. I don't expect much more to change on Nobles other than us moving up and USAE moving down. Um, as far as the Imperials, uh, I don't know. I think the standings are in a good spot with Imperials. I think Unlucky Retribution, they're at 3-2. Will be able to hold off FBL.
All right, Player John.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everybody with Nobles. I think it could go either way with ROTM and USA Esports. I mean, I haven't really watched the Army team, but they've been taking games off people, so I think it could be pretty close there. But my boys return to Mill Six. Hopefully, we'll pull it out and get third. But Mosher's team definitely not gonna get a win from any real team. And then Imperials. I think the standings right now is what they're gonna be at the end of the split. We'll probably just be third, and first and second will be either PPC or UA.
Okay, so we're not seeing much movement overall then, and we all kind of agree that Middle Sticks is basically the one team on the rise in pretty much all of Diamond. So, our next question, I posted a graphic in the chat. I'm gonna put it on stream
Yeah.
now. Maybe. Oh, that didn't work. Okay. Let me do this a different way. Sorry. Scuff stream for a second. Oh, I closed the scoreboard. Oh no. All right, this is really scuffed. Hold on, we're fixing it. Okay. This is the only bit of technology I tried to do for the entire stream, and here it goes. This is why. Shouldn't do it. Okay. Now we need to get this window to show. Not that, because that would be good.
Can we take the points from there?
Can we take? I probably
-1,
deserve it at this
-1.
point. Okay. Now that I've showed a bunch of the topics on stream, this is going really well.
We got the insider scoop.
Yeah.
We're in the show and we have the insiders. We need like a -1 emote.
True.
That'd be good for the next Twitch tier.
We need some Twitch TV emotes in this channel, dude.
If I had any control over that, I would do it.
That'd be great.
Okay, so we got the scoreboard back. It still says 0, but that's okay. We can fix that.
4433.
Okay, and then now we just need to get this graphic on stream.
I believe.
Um, there it
Is it a
is.
coincidence you can say 43-43 with these numbers on the screen?
Okay, there's the
I
graphic.
mean, I think not, right?
All I see is 33-44.
We finally got the graphic. Okay.
Nice.
Sorry about that,
Yeah.
everybody. We're back in business. So starting with Mr. 43 himself, I don't care necessarily who you think is going to win, but I want to know which odds are the most worth it. So which team you think is better than the odds indicate on this graphic?
Better than the odds indicate.
Yes.
Okay.
Which team are you buying if you got that extra pocket money to go bet on Worlds, basically?
Yeah, I would go with Fun plus Phoenix. And I think why I think they have I think they have better odds simply because with the way that the groups got drawn, I think they're basically 100% guaranteed. Like I think they're already probably going to get out no matter what group they got in. But with the group they got, they're 100% getting out of groups in first. And then the only really worry they'd have to face, in my opinion, before getting almost to the end is facing Group C, where they have like the three teams that are very strong, right? And possibly another one, but basically like the SKT Fnatic Royal Never Give Up group, right? Like that's their second team is probably going to be the strongest. So that's the only team that Fun Plus would have to worry about before getting to these semifinals, right?
Mhm.
And they're also just like I fucking love Doinby. Sorry. I think that guy is incredibly talented. I think that even like watching some of the final games that I saw in China, I think he can play a lot better than he did. Like I believe he had the instant where he like died to Raptors. Like I think he's a really good player, and I think that even with the second best odds, I think that the way that the draw went, and I think just how I believe the groups are going to play out, I think that even the 11-2 odds are underrating Fun Plus.
All right, Lipo Lane.
Okay, so I think we can all agree, and the graphic shows it, that SKT is by far the favorite. But if I had extra money to bet on this, I want someone that's not a favorite that has a pretty good shot of making finals and winning it. So that when I make my money, if I do, I'm gonna get a lot more value out of that bet. So like $100 bet for one of these bottom tier teams, it's gonna be a lot better. So I think I would bet on Damwon Gaming. And here's some reason why. So they look really good in playoffs, already 2-0. And if they make it through the play-ins, they are going to be grouped in either Group B or Group D, both of which we can agree are probably the two weakest groups, with A and C being really strong. So I think it's very likely that regardless, they're going to make it into the knockout stage. And Damwon's also shown that they can compete against the best teams. I know they didn't perform so well against SKT in playoffs. They got 3-0'd, but during the regular season, they actually beat them in both of their series. And so I think Damwon has a really good shot of being an underdog that you place a bet on, get a lot of value out of, and can make it to the finals potentially.
All right, Player John.
Didn't Invictus win last? Who won last year?
Invictus. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say, I mean, the competition's I think a lot different now, but I'd probably put the bet on them since I mean we've seen they have the potential to win. I mean, you could also say like last season, SKT didn't look as good, but I don't know. I think I'd put some money on them, and yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
Vici.
I think that looking at odds, I would have to go with Fun Plus Phoenix as well. They have 11-2 odds instead of the 9-2 for SKT. The fact that they got first in LPL, hardly dropping any games. The fact that Invictus and Royal Never Give Up are better or don't have as good odds as them. Means that people haven't been watching LPL because Invictus has been super rocky. Ning hasn't even been on the roster because he's gone mental boom. RNG lost 3-1 to them in finals with their they lost 3-1 to finals and have more weaknesses than Plus right now, especially in solo lanes. Damwon, their bot lane's been getting hard exposed at World so far, with losing to some of the wildcard bot lanes in the 2v2, even a 3v2 earlier today. G2, I think, is too volatile to really put odds on because they have what last year people called happy game, or what MSI people called IG for having happy games, and I think G2 has the same problem. And then SKT just don't have as good odds, though I think that they have pretty much equal shots of winning through. So I have to give it to Fun Plus.
All right. So we have 2 agreeing on Fun Plus as the value pick. I'm just gonna Lane, if you want to chip in, or player John, why would you favor? You're just favoring Damwon because there's more
I think
potential to make
Damwon
money.
has a really good shot of making it out, and then you make more on your money. That's so like if I were gonna bet, I'd want my $100 not to go to one of the favorites, where I'm not gonna make as much back, where I'd make like 150 back instead. I want someone that's gonna make me like $250 to be like a long shot.
All right. So last
Yeah,
week,
it's kind of the same reason for me.
sorry to cut you off there. So last week, we had there was a game allegedly that was played in GRLCS Diamond between First Blood Legion and the Poo Poo Crew, where 43, you might have to chip in and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but one member of each team went AFK for 15 minutes, and then they 1v1'd for 5 continuous minutes.
So I wasn't actually there for this game, but
Okay.
I believe what happened is that the First Blood Legion was looking for a sub, but they could only find a gold player. So we were like willing to just play them 4v4 because we didn't. It felt kind of bad to just beat them while they were playing with a gold player.
Okay. So
that's why the situation happened.
So
At
the
least from what I know.
4v4 was the determining factor of the game. The 1v1 really had nothing to do with the outcome.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I've been a little confused about the whole situation.
I believe I'm a little confused too because I don't actually know exactly. But I believe that I know that why the 4v4 was proposed was because First Blood Legion could not find a sub that was not gold, so
Okay.
we
So
didn't want to just have a gold player in the game, yeah.
so we allegedly had a game that broke down into random bullshittery, essentially. Does a game like that, where you just propose a for fun condition, have a place in a competitive league? We're going to start with Lane.
I think absolutely. Am I muted?
No, you're good.
No, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Good. So, and the reason why is because in a competitive league, you want to do what you want to win, but you also want teams to be at their best. And because one of the teams wasn't able to do that with a gold substitute, I think it was really nice of the PP crew to go ahead and just be like, hey, we're going to play a 4v4. It'll be kind of fun. And let's just try it out and see how it goes. And that will be the best advantage for you guys. So I think that's in a competitive league, realizing, hey, we want to compete at your guys' best that you can give us. And that best in that game was playing 4v4. So I like seeing that. I like seeing teams get along. And I don't think competitive always has to be, we just want to crush you every single time. Sometimes it's about challenging yourselves. And I really like the 4v4.
Okay, player John.
Okay, so I don't really agree. Like, I would like teams to get along and all that, but like to keep it competitive, like honestly, if I was in that situation, I would play it out. Like it wouldn't be fun to have to beat them not at their full strength. But like it's just I don't know. I feel like it'd be like doing them dirty, like if you don't try against them, even if they're like not fully uh they don't have their full lineup or whatever. But I don't know. I would just like the teams to try their hardest, even if like there's something that hinders them. That's just how I feel, I guess.
Okay, Vici.
So I have sort of a mixed view on it. I think that it's probably fine, even though I personally don't like having those kind of games in a league, just because it feels like it should be both teams trying their hardest to win. But League is a fun game, and we play it for fun. So as long as both teams agree that, hey, this isn't the best situation, we want to have fun in this game, I think it's fine for both teams to try and have as much fun as they can. It's just, and for competitive integrity, even LCS and whatnot, there have been 4 fun games. I remember in Worlds Season 3, when the game didn't matter for standings at all, TSM ended up picking like Teemo Bot and switching all their roles around. So there's definitely a precedent for having less serious games, even in the higher leagues. So while I don't think that it's ideal, I don't think that there's necessarily a problem with it.
All right, 43.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is that more games is better than no games, because apparently they were also like late an hour and they were just gonna FF the game. So, in my opinion, if since the team that like is being offered the surrender, right? I think if they're willing to do something that's more fun and like a 4v4, right? Then I think it's perfectly fine, and I think it's great to actually just have more games, because I think it's a better experience for everyone that gets to play. And I think that it's valuable to still get to see even just a 4v4, because the top side of the map basically remains the same. And I think it's interesting to see how people play the game slightly different in those situations. And I always think that playing any sort of game, regardless of how troll it may or may not be considered, is going to be better in a league than just having surrenders.
All right, John, do you have anything you'd like to add to 43 or VT?
uh just like I mean it's just like you pay money to be in the league. So I don't know, I feel like you'd want to like try to win even if you don't think you have a chance, kind of thing. I don't know.
All right.
and like stats, like playing a 4v5 kind of like I feel like it ruins your stats. I mean, some people care about that, some people might not, but whoever does the stats, sorry for that guy.
Oh,
I
thank
mean,
you.
our stats are already a nightmare.
Yeah, no, as the stats guy, I will say that PPC makes things way, way harder than it needs to be, and I
Yeah,
hate having to do your games.
I'm giving Vici a point for doing the stats all season. All right.
yeah.
Worth it. Give
I
him
want to
2.
hear. We've had. I mean, we've had a lot of. God, that sounds really stupid. And I'm about to say it. I'm not going to say it that way. I want to hear about your top worlds moment. So that moment that just made your jaw drop, that was heightened by whatever stage it was on. So specifically at the World Championship, your favorite moment that happened. Player John is starting.
Can you come back to me? I have to do something real quick.
Okay, that'll be Vici then.
So, as a Cloud9 fanboy, as I mentioned in the beginning, I think that my favorite moment has to be the third game Africa series versus Cloud9. Just the fact that we finally had it was a very exciting game. We had an NA team finally breaking into the semifinals at Worlds. We had, which was just something very, as like a big fan of North America and just wanting our region to do well. It was super awesome actually seeing us finally do well so that we became less of the meme region. And then just a lot of good moments in that game too, bunch of comebacks and whatnot. You had Licorice Orn punching a Baron at 16 HP in the 2v5 to turn back the game and preventing him from making a comeback. So just pure fanboyism, I think, makes that my favorite moment, though I think that there are probably other just better moments like SKT Rock Series uh, back a couple seasons ago.
All right, 43.
I think my favorite moment at Worlds would have to be the Xpeke versus Dade 1v1 at Krugs, Zed versus Talon. It was at season 4 Worlds, and I think that it's a play that doesn't get talked about a lot because, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like the arrow or whatever that like stopped the TP and won the game or anything like that. But I think it's just a really good mechanical play that against like Dade, who was seen as like he had the Dade award as like the most overrated player in the end, but like he was seen as like an insane mid laner, right? And Xpeke was in such a bad position, and it always just amazes me at how he managed to both kill Dade and then live. And I just think it's very close to the Ryu versus Faker Z1v1. And I think that it rarely, if ever, gets talked about. So
All right,
that
Lane.
would be my favorite moment.
I think definitely. I'm pretty new to League, or like relatively to how most people. I started picking it up in college. I've played for like 5 years, but the first time I actually watched World was like, or like watched Worlds and was good enough to understand really what was going on was like 2016. And seeing that tournament and seeing specifically the SKT versus Rock series, which is probably one of the best series of all time. So I'm not alone in my opinion here, but like the Prey Ash era was a great moment. That's like gonna go down in esports history is like one. It's like almost as infamous as like the Faker ZVZ play. Um, but what I really loved about that series was Rocks picking the Ash Misfortune bot lane, and I think that's something that is kind of forgotten about, just because that moment was so hype. They came out with this pick to Zyra, where Zyra was just this insane menace, and no one could get past her in the world's meta, and no one up until the playoffs or in the semifinal had brought out this counter pick, and to bring out a counter pick on semifinals to play MF support, everybody was like, "Are they trolling?" And then they just pull off this insane combo where every time Ash Hero was up, somebody was gonna die. Was just such a great series to watch, and then they end up pulling 2 games off with that strat, and it goes to 5 games. It was just such a great series, and one of the first series that like really made me enjoy watching professional League of Legends. So
All right, did Player John make it back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is exactly a Worlds. Well, I guess it was at Worlds, but it's not like a team winning or anything like that. But just when C9 made it out of groups, giving NA the hope that we always wanted. That's just really like the most, like, I guess, memorable thing for me. Like there are like awesome plays that people do and stuff, like, Faker versus Ryu and stuff like that. But just I guess just the Cloud9 making it out of groups, and yeah, that's just personally to me is like awesome because NA, everybody talks shit, and we actually made it out once. You know?
All right. So let's shift gears back to uh, Diamond GRLCS. I want. We're at the halfway pull. We usually do like mid-season awards on the podcast that is Mia. So I want to hear your guys' top MVP candidates. I want your top 2. I also will give you a bonus point if you don't include anybody from your team. We're going to start with Vici.
So top 2 MVP candidates.
Yep.
So I'd probably have to give it to Tendies and TN. Tendies is probably the best jungler right now in the league. He's the hard carry for Return of the Middle Sticks. He usually does most damage on his team. He has the best score. Even in the games where they've lost, he's usually at least sort of popped off. He is what lets them win most of their games. And then TN also basically wins pretty much all of UA's games. He has, I want to say, he has the best KDA of all AD carries. He does most damage per minute of all AD carries. He puts in the carry work that his team needs him to be putting in to actually win, and I think he's a big part of the reason that UA's 5-0 right now.
All right, 43.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tian-sama, and then I'm gonna go with Solazar. So Tian-sama has just like he has insane KDA, he has insane kills, he does the most damage per minute, which so he does his job, right? He barely dies. He has like the third, I think, fewest deaths per game average while having the highest kills. So he plays phenomenally. I can't speak. He plays great every game, and he does his job, which is really important in a meta where some people think AD carries are kind of bad with a lot of mages, and then where I think they're really good, but he always does his job on AD carries, and I think that's really valuable, knowing that you always have a solid AD carry that you can count on. And then for Solazar, he has insane vision control. He has the most control wards per minute. He has the most wards killed per minute, as well as just the highest wards placed per minute. He's up there for assists, which is good. And I think vision control is a huge aspect of the game that doesn't get talked about enough. And like we almost lost a game when we spelled the PPC in our base with blue wards because we had no vision. And I think that vision is a huge underrated part of the game that a lot of people like knows like, oh yeah, vision wins games and stuff. But I think that he has the stats that will let them win more.
All right, Lane.
Oh, and just to be clear, we're doing most valuable player, so most valuable to their team, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So I'd have to say probably Tien Sama, which is something everybody else has said, but this guy's always been a valuable member of his team and definitely the most valuable member of his team for a long time. Is the UR to UA conversion has really kept with the same MO, which is just play around Tien Sama, pick him a hyper carry, win the game. So he always comes out with great stats, always is a great player, great mechanical player. My second pick would have to be Inox for GSM. He just always seems to come up with a huge play, and we know him. He's been a former LCS player, so but he always comes up with a really big play when it comes down to the wire and GSM needs something. I know in our games, we went 2-1 against him in a really close series, and they smashed us in one game and they played around Inox really well. And then in the last game, he just hard carried a team fight and ended up winning them the game. So I really like him as a player, and I think those have to be my two leading candidates for MVP.
All right, player John.
So I'd have to say Tien Sama. I mean, that's probably pretty obvious for me, but he's just that dude's nuts. Like Tien, like sometimes he has his bad moments, like where he might still do well, but he's not popping off. But he can take leads like to where they need to be, you know? Like he can push the lead and just take over a game. It's crazy. And yeah, that dude. And then probably my second would be, I'd say Tendies, because when we played against them, I think last split or whenever I had played on a team versus him, he's just he just the pressure is insane. Like he feels like he's all over the place, and you can't do anything. And he just really is like like he is Return of the Little Six. Like of course everybody's like really good on his team, but he holds it together and makes it happen.
All right, so three of you convinced me not to take a point away from you for picking an MVP on a 2-3 team.
Well, we were doing most valuable to their team, right?
Sure, you think that without Tendi's Return of the Middle Sticks is 0-5, or without Solazar Return of the Middle Sticks is 0-5? Like, where's the ceiling here?
Well, I
So
mean,
Sorry, I need to direct traffic. 43. Go ahead.
um,
my bad.
I mean, yeah, I think that if they don't, I think that they play. Yeah, I think that they're the MVP for their team. I think Tendy is a great player, but I feel like there's, I feel like that he's sort of like the shining light that everyone sort of talks about as being a great player and sort of just ignores everything else that happens. And like, cause it like as a jungler myself, if you have vision on the map, it's a million times easier to do your job. And most of the plays that you can make as a jungler relies on your team getting you vision. And I think that even sometimes at the cost of his life, Salazar gets the vision, which lets Tendies have those pop-off moments.
So you're gonna tell me without Solazar then that even with Tendi's with the rest of the team,
Yeah, I think
they're
they play.
much
I
worse.
think they lose more games. Yeah.
Okay. Vici, what did you want to say?
Yeah, so with Solazar, I think that like he has great warding. He also has a ton of deaths because he tends to ward on his own. He gets picked a lot, and then that gives an opportunity. But for Tendies, I think that even in their losses, Tendies usually has a ton of kills trying to get his team back in the game, and it's elsewhere that they've fallen behind. And then I also just think that there aren't uh, quote MVP candidates in like some of the other winning teams. I think that for our team GSM, there isn't one player that stands out above the rest to like need to be an MVP. I don't think that for many of the other teams in the league, there's this one standout player that sort of drags his team higher. I think that for OTM, if Tendies weren't in it, then they would be a lot worse. They're starting to come into their synergy after playing together for a while. So with Tendies already doing well, even when they haven't been playing the best, I think that now that they are hitting their stride, he will come in and make it worth it.
All right, I'll buy it then. Fine, sure. Better conference, Nobles or Imperials? 43.
Better conference. I think that. I mean, I think that Imperials is the harder conference because I feel like it's sort of like for Nobles, a team dropped out and they're not in last place. So I feel like it's kind of iffy, some of the competition over there. I feel like in Imperials that even the teams that have been winning, I feel like they have like both the teams. I feel like there's been more of the 2-1 wins, and like UA, who's in first, they have two series that they won 2-1, and that just indicates to me that there's more of challenge that's being happening in the Imperials.
Okay, but the exact same as GSM. They've lost 2 games as well. I'm not buying that last argument, but the rest of it's fine. Lane, go ahead.
I think Nobles is a harder conference, and I don't know why you'd look at the bottom of the standings to determine the strength of a conference. But if you look at like GSM, Saucy Summoners, U.S. Army Esports, and Return of the Middle Sticks, us 4 are a really solid group of teams. And for Imperials, I feel like you've got Unlucky Ascension and PPC, and that's it. Like it's a race between you guys, and then UR and FBL are gonna fight it out for third place. But legitimately, any of the top 4 teams from Nobles could take games off of any of the teams there. I mean, even us at 2 and 3 were almost able to, or 1 and 3 at the time, were able to almost upset GSM in a 3-game series. So I think it's a lot more competitive on the Noble side because we have 4 really strong teams.
Okay, Player John.
Yeah, Nobles for sure is the better one. Just like like of course like they're gonna be like not as good teams in each bracket, but on Nobles you got 4 really good teams that like all of them should make it out, but unfortunately only 3 can go. But yeah, like we on the Imperial side we only got like UA and PBC and then my team that really like could put up a fight against the other people on the other side. I mean, that's that's really it.
Okay, Vici.
So I think that at the top, Nobles is the question like better conference, competitive?
The word says better. That's the word I
Okay.
said.
So I'll probably go with Nobles because the top 4 are better. I think that TFT forfeited, and then I think Glenbell is just the worst team in Diamond. But I think for the top 4, I believe that Return of the Middle Sticks is going to shoot up. There are more games like between the 2 through 4, so like there are a bunch of 3-game series in Nobles Conference. So you have a more competitive region or conference to improve itself with. I think Imperials is unlucky is probably is Ascension is the top team, but then the ones below them, I think that they would lose to the top 4 in Nobles, or at least the top 4 in Nobles would have a very good shot at beating most of the other teams in Imperials. Like PPC, I think aren't as good as some of the other teams that can deal with their unique strategies, let's say. I think that you are as well. There are players that can their players are good, but they haven't shown as good like team coordination as some of the Nobles teams have got. So I'd say that Nobles is more top heavy, and so the better conference.
Okay, 43. Anything you'd like to say to these noble lovers?
I mean, I guess it's just like I feel like I sort of argued this too, but it's versus like competitiveness versus better. I think it's gonna be hard. I think that it's hard to tell with like RTM roster changes where they were in strength relative to them in like the summer splash and stuff. Hopefully they got better, right? Because that's always the goal with roster changes. But yeah, so it's hard to tell if just because it's more competitive, if that means it's necessarily better. I guess that's my point.
Okay. All right. At Worlds, there's 3 champions so far that have 100% presence, so been picked or banned every single game. It's Kiana, Pantheon, Zaya. I don't really care about that. I want to know in these Diamond games, in your personal games, what champion should be 100% picked or banned, Lane.
I think Pantheon should definitely be 100% pick ban. And that champion is so disgusting, especially with his E. And as a top lane, I hate seeing it, but seeing it in other lanes is just as annoying. It can go top, it can go jungle, it can go mid, and that's why it should be 100% and support. It can go all four of those. And that's why I feel like it should be 100% pick ban in my solo queue games, because there are 4 positions that can play it, and it's very effective. In top lane, it has a couple bad matchups, but you can ban those out pretty easily. And even if it has a bad matchup, you can just shove and roam. That's always been the good thing about Pantheon. And that roaming ability makes him so strong in lanes like jungle and in mid, where in mid he has 2 different lanes to roam to, and then if in jungle he literally has the entire map. The buff to his R range also makes him just so much stronger in general, because he's able to get to any part of the map a lot faster. And then, I mean, you can't talk about the rework without talking about his E, which just neutralizes all damage, no matter what it is. Be Karthus, as long as you're pointing their little shield at it, there's no way you can do any damage to him. And if you have it empowered, it's 2.5 seconds without being able to do damage in a distance. So um, I think his damage and his execute is really strong as well, with his powered Q, and that's why he's my pick.
All right, Player John.
So just one champion, right?
Yeah, if you've got multiple, I'll hear it, but I had phrased it as just one.
Okay. I think I think Pantheon's really good. Like, but I don't know. I think I think in this, or in Imperials at least, Pantheon, dude, or Malphite. Malphite is broken. AP Malphite. Like the freak if you run Ultimate Hunter in Presence of Mind, holy crap. Your ult is on the lowest cooldown. Like you just run around the map, alting people. They flash. It's like, all right, well, I can alt 4 more times before that's back up. And like, if you're 80 carry, you're just insta dead. You can't do anything. Like, there's just no counterplay against that ult. And yeah, it's just like the damage is insane. Like team fights, and if you have a Yasuo for some reason, like that even makes it stronger. Like, yeah.
All right, Vici.
So for 100% pick ban, I think that I'd probably have to go with Xayah. I think that there are 380 carries right now that are pretty much the top of the pack. I think you have Xayah, Caitlyn, and Kaisa, and the Xayah is probably the most safe of those. You have your ult to get out of things. It's hard for people to run into you, so it lets you stay safe in a meta where you have to be able to stay safe and get out damage because there's tons of like divers and skirmishers, which Xayah is pretty good into. And then because the pool is so limited for 80 carries, you kind of have this choice of which very strong ones to go for. And Xayah pairs up well with most of the sports. You have Xayah Rakan. You can get set up with like Nautilus and Thresh and some of the other hook ones to pull them into your feathers. So she has strong synergy with the strong supports right now. And if there are only 380 carries really to pick, you try and go for her, maybe get rid of 2. And then there are also a bunch of good 80 carries. In the GRLCS, you've got Yehabredder, you've got Rito Torchic, you've got TN. So with how strong the 80 carries are, I think you have to give them one of the top 80 carries in the role, and one of those 80 carries is Xayah.
All right, 43.
I think the champion that should be 100% pick ban is Morgana. I think Morgana has insane matchups into basically all the good supports right now. Like she's good into Rakan, she's good into Thresh, she's good into Leona. I think that she even fares fairly well against things like Pantheon because she can block a stun. She can, if he ults in, she gets a guaranteed bind. She's also pretty good against Kaisa, heavy AP damage, and she can sort of like her ult follows even if Xayah ults. And I think Caitlyn like traps won't work as well for the CC portion. And I think that Morgana just gives you so much more flexibility with your carries. You don't have to worry about a pick as much as like an AP Malphite, right? Because while he'll still do damage, you can sort of black shield that, you get a free bind, and you can sort of deal with him easier that way. And I feel like she's great at sort of neutralizing a lot of these aggressive threats from like a Pantheon, a Malphite, a Kiana, while also being able to sort of look for picks with a Dark Binding, set up team fights with her alt and Zanya's, and I just think she's insanely good at everything she does and countering what a lot of other champions want to do.
Yeah, I'll say from my lowly gold perspective, that champ is 100% pick ban and gold because it's most of what all of the supports play. I think it's the only in common champion for gold supports, but that's neither here nor there. Last question for this round. Um, I want to know, would you rather have in your top lane a player like Huni who's going to coin flip, be really aggressive, fight all the time, or would you rather have a player like Impact? So not necessarily the players Huni and Impact, but would you rather have your coin flippy aggressive player in the top lane, or would you rather have that tank rock like solid performing player? I'm going to start with John.
Honestly, I take the like tanky person that just plays like consistent whatever, because that's what I do. Well, I don't know about consistency, but that's the kind of play style I like to play. Just like be the front line for the team, make sure, to protect the back line, all that, I think, well, that's my kind of play style. And I think that works really well with some teams if you have like good AD carry and mid, etc. But I think the coin flick, I don't know. I think that can work on just like aggressive teams, like early game kind of focused. But yeah, that's what I got.
All right, Vici.
So I also think that it's better to have the solid, consistent player at the top lane. I think that if you have a coin flip player like that, you might get some extra wins that you lose, but I also think that you lose more than some games that you should have won. And I think that that's more damaging to like mental and stuff. When you do have one of those players who kind of just throws everything away, you end up feeling worse about it than if you do have those times when you're behind and he can maybe pull out a win. But that's also not something kind of because you're behind. So maybe even if he does do the flashy play, it doesn't work out. And then with a solid player, especially if the rest of your team is solid as well, you'll get better results from it. And you can always count on them instead of kind of having in the back of your mind that worry that, oh, I wonder if he's going to feed today in this game. Instead, you have that idea that at least I can always count on top lane doing well and being able to rely on them to make your decisions around like building comps and plays in game. You kind of know what to expect rather than a chaos factor, which I think does worse for a team.
All right, 43.
Yeah, I mean, I think consistency is always the best answer. Like we're fortunate to have 52 in the top lane who loves playing tanks, and because when you have a player like 52, you know that every single game you're always gonna not have to worry about like, oh, is he gonna pick Camille, go 1 in 10 in lane, and just lose us the game? I know that like because I like playing carry junglers, it always frees me up to not have to play a more tanky style where I can look for plays, and I know that if I ever need to fall back, I'll always have like the consistent rock in the top lane, whatever he wants to play. And I know that when team fights come, he's always going to be there to make a huge impact and a consistent impact, which is huge because, yeah, right. Because if you don't have consistency, then your team is basically always doomed to fail in the end. because that's essentially all competitive is how can you stay consistent at the highest level for the longest time possible. And players like Huni, everyone talks about it. He has huge highs, but he also has huge lows. And a player is just simply not as valuable if you always have to be concerned of like, what if they burn out? What are we going to do then? And how are we going to recover?
All right, Lane.
Okay, so I have a little bit different answer. I think that it really depends on how good your team is. If you're a team like TL or another very consistent team like C9, I want somebody that's going to be really consistent, that I can know what they're going to produce every time. But if I'm a team that doesn't have a good shot of winning anyway with the rest of my roster, I want that guy that maybe 1 out of every 3 games he just pops off and he can carry from that position. So like for clutch in Worlds here, I want like that Huni player that has a chance and is super confident in his abilities and is just going to go out, pick something, and just be like, "Hey, I'm going to try this. We don't have the best shot, but I'll take those odds when I'm just a worse team overall." Um, so I don't mind having someone that I know will pop off like once every couple games on something and just hard carry the game for me if I'm a team that doesn't have as much talent.
All right, that's going to do it for the first round. Take a look at the points. Looks like Player John's got the lowest total. Any last words for your adoring fans?
Just, never lucky. Can't get lucky with the points. It's all right. It's all right. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not the most analytical person in this league, but it's all
All right,
good.
all right. Thanks, John.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. So that'll. Oh, I I can't kick him there. Okay, we'll kick him down there. Um, so that'll do it for round one. Take a quick peek at the score. Vici's in the lead at 30, 43 in second at 29. Lipo bringing up the rear right now, but at 28. So we got buy or sell coming up. Our first question, we're going to start with Vici. Do you buy or sell Glen Bell and the Flying Chalupas winning a game? Just a game, not a whole match. Just a game other than the TFT game.
Oh, other than TFT where they get the forfeit win?
Yeah, no, not counting that one.
So is buying they win a game or is selling they win a game?
Do you buy them winning a game?
I'm a sell. They haven't won any games yet, and I don't see that getting better. You have RTM on the upswing. You have Saucy doing well. We're still 5-0 in the conference. I think that they tend to like roll swap around a lot. I think all 5 of their players are in the most des per game. They go really hard. They don't really macro. They kind of just throw themselves. They tend to like roll swap around a lot, so it isn't even like they're building any consistency. And I don't even think they really try. I know for a fact they don't practice, so I don't really see them getting any better from here, especially after the O5 start. I think that they have like the mental, if nothing else, I think is a bit off. So I just don't see them doing well when they're already this far behind everyone else. Everyone else is getting better. They're, as far as I can tell, they're getting worse. So no, I don't see them winning a game.
Okay, 43.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna win any games. I mean, they have they have the lowest game time by far, which is sometimes a good thing, but it just indicates that all of the other teams are just absolutely smashing them. So I find it really hard to believe that even for one game they're gonna mount like a miraculous victory, because if they rarely make it past 25 minutes, I find it hard to believe that there's some late game macro gods that we just haven't been graced with their presence yet. So I feel like even if they manage to survive to the 30, 35-minute mark, I feel like they'll just fall flat to the other team's macro. So I find it incredibly unlikely that they'll win a game.
All right, Lane, do you think they're going to find a magic bullet at some point this season?
I am hard selling all of my Glenn Bell the Flying Chalupa winning in game stock. We already talked about how Noble's top 4 is already like an insanely or a really good strong 4. And all they have left is TFT, who isn't going to play them a game. And yeah, I feel like they've kind of accepted their fate, having played them the most recently. They were in all chat, like talking, having a good time. I'm glad they were having a good time, but they seem like they're just kind of like not taking the games too seriously. I know we didn't show game 2 from our game, but Tendies and Solazar sat in bottom tri-bush before the bot lane would get to tower, and I think they killed them like 4 straight times while they were walking back to lane. Like they just didn't learn or just didn't care enough to like think about, oh, they'll be here. Oh, they'll be here. It was like, I don't know. We won the second game in like 20 minutes, but I don't see any way that they win a game against any of these teams.
All right, so let's take a step back. If we added in a TFT game, TFT suddenly comes back from the dead, they play. Can they take a game off of TFT? Just one game. In a word, Vici?
Uh, I'm gonna say. I mean, TFT hasn't played for the past few weeks, so I don't
Yep.
really know what their strength level's at. I'm gonna still say no because they 2-0'd them last time they played, and they played like they had Smite Sai on top and Vayne mid in it. So yeah, I'm gonna still say no.
All right, 43.
Yeah, no, for me
Okay,
too.
Lane.
No.
Oh.
No.
All right. Buy or sell Clutch finishing first in their group, 43.
First in their play-ins group?
Yep.
I think that. I think yes. I'll buy that. Because I think that from the first to the second game, I felt like it showed that. I feel like the first game they were sort of like they were really sloppy and they played pretty haphazardly. And then in their game versus Mammoth, they were just like, okay, we need to still treat these teams seriously. We're gonna not try to force plays and go for like crazy Akali ults over walls and just sort of play it slow. And they still had some mistakes like the Kai'Sa Baron steal and stuff like that. But I think they played incredibly well their second game to reduce, basically nullify any chance that Mammoth had to come back into the game and just play it slow. They finally showed that they could actually like leverage the top Tristana because that wasn't working all the time for them. They showed that they could actually maneuver that properly and use it to slowly suffocate the teams. And I'm incredibly hopeful that, especially since we haven't even seen some of their like picks, like the Kiana's been 100% pick and ban, stuff like that. And I don't think DeMonte's really had a huge pop-off game yet, which we know he can do. So I believe that if Clutch continues to learn, and it looks like they have learned just from the first to the second game, I do buy that they'll finish first in their group.
Okay, Lane.
Yeah, I don't see why there's any reason they can't. I think they definitely make it out of the group. I don't see them placing third. But what the first game really looked like to me was 3 new players that have never been to the world stage before, making some uncharacteristic mistakes, and then in game 2, correcting a lot of those mistakes and just playing a suffocating game. Like they were just clearly better than Mammoth in the second game, and Mammoth beat Unicorns of Love, so we've got the circle of suck established as each team has beat the other ones once. But I really don't see Clutch. We already know they can destroy Mammoth, and I think with another game under their belt, they'll fix up those issues and be able to beat Unicorns of Love as well, and place first in their group.
All right, then, Vici, don't you think Lyra's been a little bit exposed so far in this group? Aren't you a little bit worried about them not finishing first?
I'm gonna still buy it. I think that game one they lost hard in draft. Like I have no idea what the hell that draft was that they thought they could win with it. They first pick Renekton, which I have no idea why. Renekton's more of a counter matchup. Then they ended up with Renekton into Nico, Tristana, Morgana, Heimerdinger. There's just no way he has an impact. He can't run in. He can't stun anyone because Morg is there. So you're already removing Demonte from having any sort of impact in the game. Like he's just a useless champion. Then with Rakan, then with Echo Jungle, you really need him as follow-up engage because it's really hard to go on his own, especially into Morgana, so he can't even stun anyone. So he has Rakan, but Morgana can stop him from engaging. So they have no real engage or comeback mechanism in that game one in a draft where they're already super far behind. So I just don't see how they were supposed to win that game. And then like Huni was trying to make plays too hard, so I think there was a bit of jitters there, but they were kind of set up to fail. Game two, they really stepped back and pushed their advantages. They had a very, very clean game other than that one random Baron steal, which was just a small mechanical error. So it's not like they're too bad. So I think that now that they've kind of stepped back, if they keep things like how they should, if they get back to picking their power picks again instead, because like we haven't even seen Huni's Rumble or Gangplank or their Kiana, which is how they were winning a ton of their games in LCS. So I think that once they actually get their draft back together and settle down and play like we know they can, I think they're pretty clear first for the group.
All right, last buy or sell then. Do you lane buy or sell Killering as the best mid laner in the league?
Sell. Killering doesn't have the champ pool that I think is necessary to be considered in the top tier of Get Wrecked LCS. I like his most played is Karma, which for all that the memeing that we've done over the years about Karma being played in the middle lane and how it's not a real champion and all this stuff, is a decent, okay mid lane pick. But like you're not the most. You're obviously just choose if you choose Karma, you're not saying, oh, I'm just gonna go out beat you with straight mechanics. No, I'm gonna support my team. I'm gonna do what it takes to win. That doesn't mean it's a bad pick, but I think that especially kind of disqualifies him from that. Like he's not trying to outplay anyone, obviously, with that pick. Um, let's see. Yeah, I think that's most of it.
Okay, Vici?
I'm a sell that. I think that Killering, he has the KDAs and stats and whatnot, but he doesn't have very much impact from the games I've seen him played with him. He plays a bunch of supportive stuff like Karma. He has a couple Morgana games, Oriana, Malzahar. He has a couple LeBlanc games and a Cassiopeia game where he hard won, but that was against Glen Bell, which I don't really count for how well you did. Did have a very good pop off versus ROTM, but that's the outlier. So he just has a supportive champion pool, which isn't good which is still good because it enables his team. But I think that like even with that supportive champion pool, he doesn't have the most impact in the games. He just does his best to let the rest of the team have impact. I think in terms of impact mid laners, you have Inox on my team and you have Alacrity on US Army, who like actually force plays and look to let the team get ahead instead of just doing your best to let your ahead team do better. So I think that there are higher impact mids than Killering and better mids.
Okay, 43.
Yeah, that's a sell from me too. Like I feel like he's I think there's more. I think he's a great supportive mid laner, but to say he's like the best is kind of iffy to me. I think that he's if you argued like the best Karma mid or something, then I'd probably agree with it. But I think the best mid, I prefer mids that are either heavy roamers or look for big team fight plays. Like Inox is, I think, the best mid laner probably. and like he's insane. I think in team fights, like I think he carries really hard, and then like 30 loves roaming. Like he will roam anytime. Like there's a joke that he ganks lanes more than I do, and I think that that's a hard sell for me. I don't
All
think
right. Lane
that just
43
because you
then.
have
Who
high.
is the best mid laner then? Lane?
I mean, I already made an argument for Inox being an MVP, and I think, as 43 already said, he's just an insane team fighter. Will win you games based just on team fighting alone. Comes in with clutch plays when he needs to. I just want to say really quick, like Killering's had an amazing split, and I don't want to take anything away from him. Like that, like having a KDA that's just like almost 3 higher than any other mid laner in the league. Uh, he's doing his job. He's winning his team games. He's picking the champions he needs to enable his team. So I don't want to take anything away from him there. He's having a great split.
Okay, 43. Who's the best mid laner then?
Yeah, I agree. I think that Inox is realistically the best and most well-rounded of all the mid laners. I feel like I would find it hard to believe that Inox could not play Karma mid if he needed to. I just think that when you always see a mid laner play things that are supportive, and it sort of makes me question like if that is like the carry that you want to have your team be on. So I don't think that I would. So I think Inox is better.
Okay.
And you can't ban Inox out. Like he has an
Yeah, that
ocean.
too.
Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter like what you try to get away from him. He's gonna perform on whatever pick. If we went back to like the consistency, we will always want a consistent player. Inox is gonna be that guy that's like, I can hard carry you. He has like the Hooney upside, but no downside. Like consistent and could pop off and just win you games.
All right, that's gonna end by ourselves. Lane, you've got the lowest point total. Do you want to say anything to your adoring fans?
Uh, I just want to say I don't think RTM is gonna drop another game. Rest of the split. That's our personal challenge. I think we're all kind of in on that goal. And I'm really excited to finally have a roster to play with. And I'm looking forward to playoffs. I'll see PP Poo Poo Crew in the finals.
All right, thanks, Lane. All right, showdown time. 2 men enter. One's going to get eternal glory or something like that. Let me reset the scoreboard. And our first showdown question is this: which team is going to lose first? Unlucky Ascension or GSM? We're going to start with 43.
Lose first.
Yes.
Okay, I need to look at the schedule then to see when teams play each other because I don't actually know when each team plays each other. So basically I'm just checking when we play. So we play them second, third, and then they play. When do they? I think that GSM is going to lose first. I think that it's very possible for the Saucy Summoners to beat them. And they play. I think that. I mean, I guess technically they've probably already played, but I feel like that is the first game that happens schedule wise that I say has the highest possibility for like an upset, if you want to call that, or the team that hasn't lost to win. So I would say that they lose first.
So you think it's going to happen in the regular season? You think it might have already happened?
Yes, I think it might have already happened
Okay.
because of the way the schedule plays. I think that's
Okay.
yeah.
Vici?
All right, so I think that Unlucky Ascension is going to lose first. I think that we have a pretty good shot against Saucy Summoners, and then after that we have Glen Bell and TFT, which I basically consider 2 free weeks, so that's already 3 weeks that I think Unlucky Ascension has to lose. And then I also think, which I'm going to say that I don't think that either team will lose until playoffs, and then I'm pretty sure that it's cross conference. So I'll say that the top-heavy Nobles Conference compared to the just Imperial Conference, which isn't as top-heavy. I think that since UA is going to be playing against them, I think UA has a higher shot of losing.
All right, I like Vichi's
This
fourth.
question's rigged.
I like Vichi's
Because you
fourth.
know if you won or lost.
Right, but you're calling your shot. I
Yeah.
appreciate that, but I'm gonna give the point to Vici. All right. Which is more likely? I'm stealing this question from this or that. Apologies, but which is more likely? EU winning Worlds or North America making finals? Vici.
I think EU winning Worlds because they have both Fnatic and G2, who I think can both make really deep runs. I think NA can make finals, but with how you have SKT, you have FunPlus, you have RNG, Fnatic, G2, I just think that TL and C9, as much as my NA fanboyism wants them to go far, like C9 made it to semifinals last year, but then they got 3-0'd by Fnatic. And I don't see them. I can see them making finals, but I think just more likely is Europe making finals with how strong their top two teams are.
All right, 43.
Yeah, I agree. I think EU winning Worlds is a higher chance. I think that realistically, the only NA team that's probably going to get out of groups is Team Liquid. And then I feel like Team Liquid will struggle against, and I'm assuming that's even a second probably. And I feel like if you put TL versus G2, if you put TL versus Griffin, FunPlus, SKT, Fnatic, I don't have confidence in them at all, let alone getting to the finals. So I think that G2 looked great. I think Fnatic looked great playing against G2, even though G2 came out better twice. So if I had to bet on one, then I'd 100% say that EU has a higher chance of winning Worlds than NA has to get to finals.
All right, you guys basically repeated each other, but this game's rigged, so 43 gets the point. Your tie question, 43. What's the best world song?
The best world song?
Yeah.
I think that the best world song, it has to be Warriors. Because not only is that just like the huge song, right? It's like also just like a real song. Like I don't want to say the other ones aren't real songs, but I feel like I was hearing Warriors like everywhere. Like it didn't have to do with League. Like that song's so good, it's so hype, and I feel like everyone was listening to it and everyone liked it, even if they had no idea what League was.
All right, Vici.
All right, so I'm going to go with Rise. Just the video that came with it, I think, just elevates it so much because you have so many good storylines from other worlds. You have the amazing animation to go with it. And like that doesn't have to do with how good a song it is, but when you watch that video and listen to this song and even later, it just brings back all the hype you had from that first time you watch it. Like having ambition just keep going, pushing past. You have Faker at the top of the mountain with his rise. Everything syncs so well. It was just really, really good hype building with the video, the storylines from all the players, the pushing to the top, along with some really good music to go with it. And it just, I think that Best World Song is the one that gets you most hyped for Worlds. And I think Rise just gets you way more hyped than Warriors does, considering the video and how it goes together with the music.
All right, so coming into this question, I objectively thought 43 was correct. Like 100%. That was the moment I realized that League was a big thing, that it was esports was a out of its bubble basically. But Vici, you got me hyped for Worlds. I'm giving you the point. I'm giving you the FaceTime go.
So my FaceTime, I'm gonna ask all the people watching right now, for diamond stats, I asked that in your post-match forms, please give like if you have any role swaps or if you change like people's positions, please put those in your post-match forms as well. It makes it a lot easier for me to do stats when people do like role swaps and weird champ picks and whatnot. So with my moment of fame, please make my life a bit easier and give roles and whatnot for stats so that I don't have to private message people asking, "Hey, who's playing what and where?"
I completely agree. Bless your stat keepers, love them. Uh, I did stats for a split, and it was actually the worst. So, love your stat keepers. Help them out. Put it on the post match form. Thanks, guys, everybody, for coming on. I really appreciate. Special shout out. Thanks, Vici 43 Lipo Lane and Player John for volunteering this week. If anybody is out there, we're looking to do a gold one next week. If you're in gold and want to be on lane by lane, let me know. So that I can contact you and you could win eternal glory the same way Vici and Legion have. So thanks, bye.
Bye.
But
I still didn't put in an ending screen, so you're getting the be right back again.
yeah, and I can send you our stats for this week after.
This is the
Because-
collaboration we need. All right.
Yeah, yeah.